problem, right? They made them radioactive, right? So now you killed the working class. Now the working class is no longer supporting the Democratic Party. So who do they have left? They have the identity politics groups. So they can't piss off the identity politics groups because they're like, that's all we got left. They did the same shit with us during the election, right? They're like, the podcast bros have a sexism and bigotry problem. They try to make people radioactive.
In this video, Andrew Schulz joins the All In podcast. Among other things, Andrew Schulz and the panel discuss a variety of topics, including Donald Trump's strategy and the way the left demonizes people. With that, let's watch Andrew Schulz silence this panel by stating facts.
Bribing Trump, giving him $1 million to the inauguration, to get close to him, to go to Mar-a-Lago, and it looks really bad. You need to have a clear strategy here for what the rules of the game are. And he's changing the rules, so you have to go to him, and he loves that. That's actually, I think, what he's trying to do is get everybody to go through him. It's a really clever hack, I think.
Yeah, and perception is reality. So you have to react to people's perception. Like, we can throw data points all we want at people, and we can throw research and all this other shit. But if people aren't meeting you there, then you're not going to be communicating with them effectively. And I think that's something that, like, you know, especially you guys need to know. You guys have privy to information that the average American probably is not. And we can bitch and complain about how they don't read or how they're not looking up, you know, what happened in 1913 to change the course of American history and how we started or we can go, okay, we need to find a way to disseminate this information so that they can make these decisions and, I guess, or feel comfortable with the results of these decisions.
Do you think America would be okay with this idea of taxing outsiders and then relying on it versus income tax paid by its own citizens?
I think that the second half is really all that would matter. I think that people are I think the majority of people are thinking about the next week. So if you say that I don't have to pay taxes, like, and I think this is what Republicans are doing way better than Democrats right now, is like, Democrats don't have build the wall. They don't have slogans. They don't have things that immediately tap into like core emotional feeling, regardless if you're going to do it or not. We want Greenland. Okay, that's cool. Democrats need eggs or $1. Democrats need things that like echo their sentiments and how they want to like take care of people and provide for the disenfranchised. But it has to be done in a way where it's digestible. You can chew on it. If you want to make housing more affordable, then you say, yay, we're seizing public land. We're building 10,000 units. Like, you have to tap into what Americans need, which is a feeling of not just comfort. Every American thinks they're going to be a millionaire. That's what this country drives off of, right? It's every poor American.
That hope, yeah.
And the second they stop thinking they will be,
can be,
it falls apart. And then some healthcare CEO gets shot and people celebrate. They're celebrating because they no longer feel the hope that they could be in that position.
Yeah.
They feel disenfranchised. And this is what, like, I'm telling you, like, the you guys of the world need to pay close attention to, because there's going to be no.
Wow. Andrew's really, he sounds like a seasoned political commentator here. He's making very, very good points. I think the Democrats do attempt to get behind things they think will inspire, galvanize the American people, or make the American people excited about their party and their message, but they're off target so often. I mean, they continue to double down on the things that we would call woke, and the party's really fractured over that. Some of the party wants to go super, super left, and some of the party says, all right, this is ridiculous. Like, the stuff we're getting behind doesn't serve anybody. Let's get a little bit more center. And I think that's just one of the many reasons they're in disarray right now. But as I always talk about, the Democrats are out of touch with the average American. That includes the news media and the politicians. I'm not necessarily talking about the voters, just, you know, like I said, politicians, leadership, media. So when they do things that they think the American people are really going to love, they just never land, or they get laughed at, or Americans resent them. Cory Booker's long speech in Congress, who cared about that? No one. And he thought that was such a show of toughness. I saw something where Cory Booker and a bunch of Democrats are like sitting on the steps of the Capitol or something for an extended period of time. I literally don't know what it was about, because it was laughed off by everyone. Even the liberal media didn't talk about it a ton because it was so stupid. So they try to do these things. And the Abrego Garcia thing, you know, they hitch their wagon to the dumbest horses. I'm not looking at polling data, but I'm pretty sure not many Americans were like, wow, this is really important. Let's get behind it. So yeah, let's hear what else Andrew has to say.
No empathy if anything bad happens. Oh, the stock market is down. No Americans are invested in the stock market. Like, that's all you guys.
I've been saying it. No. I've been saying this for months.
The country is.
I've been saying it for months. Nobody cares about the stock market, nor should we. And the reason is because we, people who own these assets, have overly benefited more than we've deserved for the last 15 years. Ever since the great financial crisis in the United States, people who, as Jason said, could cozy up. And by the way, Jason, I think the claim that you made, which is severely true for how from 2007 up until now has played out. Because if you look under all the programs, if you could have lobbied Obama in those critical years of the GFC,
yep.
Oh my God, the amount of money that was because we took interest rates literally to zero. Anybody like us who could have gone and gotten levered up and gone into the stock market was richly rewarded. And the problem is we left everybody else behind. And I think the great thing about Trump is he is going to reset that. He is going to take a lot of wealth away from asset holders. You're seeing it every day, 500 billion, 500 billion. There is no sympathy. I think it's fantastic.
That's great. It's great to hear you even saying that, because I feel like a lot of people that are in maybe your guys' position don't understand that disconnect. And that is important to understand. They're like, even what happened in the Palisades, like in LA with like the fire, the second people heard it was like rich people's houses, there was no empathy for it. They didn't.
$4 million house. It was like,
and it is.
I don't even have a house. I can't find a house. You burned your house down and you moved. You went back. You went to your vacation house. Now, I'm sorry, you're living at your ski house. That's a tragedy. Like, literally, you're right.
It probably explains why we don't hear anything in the news anymore about anything that's happening with respect to reconstruction or any of the disruption that's happening. It's a rich person problem.
It's a rich person. And, I think putting together what you just said, Schulz and you, Chamath, Trump is a master at connecting with people and listening to them. I thought one of the greatest things he did during this last election is when he said no tax on tips. When he said no tax on tips, he was going right for Nevada. He was going right for that swing state, to get those folks who live off tips.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
But what he was also doing is saying, I know that there's a bunch of y'all that sometimes get cash tips. You put it in your pocket. It's the gray market. I get it. I run I got caddies who get a Hyundai from, whatever, taking somebody out on the course. We're just going to make it official. You don't get tax on tips because we know that you're the bottom third of the country in terms of your economic power. Those kind of statements really do connect with people. Trump has just mastered this. Trump is the Democratic Party that we grew up with.
It's kind of crazy.
It's kind of crazy, right? And then the Democrats became this elitist group that seemed to be in the pocket of business interests. I don't know what bizarro world we're living in.
I think you tapped into it right there. It's like, I think that they could easily win the next election if they made it a class war, but they don't, because it feels like they're in the pockets of these billion-dollar corporations. So they can't really, Bernie did it really effectively, right? Like this random Jew that lives in Maine or something.
There's so much there. Wealth inequality leads to, I think, a lot of the problems and sentiments that some average Americans have towards the wealthy, like they were talking about. My values will just never let me justify or praise someone murdering someone else and taking that person away from their family and their loved ones. Anybody who's cheering over that, it really saddens me. And even if wealth inequality has contributed to that, there's just no excuse will make me understand how a sane person could take that stance. And these guys are right. Donald Trump is a master of connecting with the average American. Anyone, really, not just the average American. A perfect example is actually, I always forget his name or can't pronounce it, Perfect example is the guy in the upper left-hand corner that, by his own admission, he used to hate or dislike very much dislike Trump. He had a single dinner with him and changed his mind completely. And now I believe I know he supported Donald Trump during the election, and I know that he still has a relationship with Trump and the administration. And I think them talking about the no tax on tips thing, and of course that's why they were talking about it, is just a great example of how to connect with the average American, because the parties have flipped. The Republican Party is the party now of the average American, and the Democrat Party is elite rich people LARPing like they're the average Americans, and no one's buying it. And when I was growing up, you could just flip those descriptions I gave to each party and you'd be spot on. So anyway, let's wrap up the video.
Like that is like, yo, we got to get some money from these rich people, give it back to the poor. And all of a sudden, all of America turned him into like our surrogate grandfather. So you can.
And then he got shivved by Hillary and the machine.
And I mean, what did they say about his fans? Like, they went very specifically. They were like, he has the Bernie bros have a sexism and bigotry problem, right? They made him radioactive. Right. So now you killed the working class. Now the working class is no longer supporting the Democratic Party. So who do they have left? They have the identity politics groups. So they can't piss off the identity politics groups because they're like, that's all we got left. They did the same shit with us during the election, right? They're like, the podcast bros have a sexism and bigotry problem. They try to make people radioactive. And it's like, that card's been played so many times that people are desensitized.
It don't work anymore.
They don't care.
I think Donald Trump is a once-in-a-lifetime leader / president. I don't know if history will describe him that way, but it would take a lot to convince me differently. Neither party has anyone that can do what he's done and is currently doing. That being the case, I mean, the Democrats, with all their other problems, they absolutely don't have a single person or voice that can stand toe-to-toe with him and connect with people the way that he does. So that's a good thing for conservatives now. And hopefully, even with all the obstacles in place, conservatives are able to take advantage of having control of the executive and the legislative branches of government. So I just keep praying for Donald Trump and his administration. But we want to hear from you. What do you guys think about this conversation about Donald Trump and the way the left demonizes people? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.